Max Pringle with these headlines. It's primary day today in Florida and New York State. In Florida, Democrats are voting to decide who will take on Republican Governor Ron DeSantis in November's general election. And in New York, congressional primaries include a race between two powerful Democratic committee chairs, Carolyn Maloney and Jerry Nadler, who will face each other because of redistricting. More from Public News Service's Mary Sherman.
Former Republican governor turned Democrat Charlie Crist takes on Florida Agricultural Commissioner Nikki Fried in the state's Democratic gubernatorial primary today.
Vote like your life depends on it, because it actually does.
You have a choice. We can keep losing, or we can try something new.
Crist is ahead of Fried in recent polling. Whoever advances will face Republican incumbent Ron DeSantis, a top GOP name for the 2024 presidential race. In New York, voters will weigh in on congressional and state Senate seats. Vacancies in the House due to retirements, resignations, and campaigns for higher office have resulted in numerous candidates running in congressional races. And due to redistricting, a new Manhattan area seat has two Democratic incumbents facing off, Representative Carolyn Maloney and Representative Jerry Nadler. I'm Mary Sherman for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
Meanwhile, in Oklahoma, election watchers will be focused today on the race for retiring U.S. Senator Jim Inhofe's seat. Former Oklahoma Speaker of the House T.W. Shannon and Marquane Mullen are the last two Republican candidates on the ballot after a crowded field entered the June primary. The winner will face former Democratic U.S. Congresswoman Kendra Horn in November. Lawyers for former President Trump are requesting that a federal judge appoint a neutral special master to preempt the inspection of documents recovered from his Florida residence. This would prevent the FBI from continuing to review the documents for now. The attorneys asserted Monday in their first court filing since the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago 2 weeks ago that the sets of documents taken from the resort were, quote, presumptively covered by executive privilege. They say the matter has captured the attention of the American public and safeguards are needed to protect Trump's constitutional rights. Heavy rains in the Dallas-Fort Worth area are causing streets to flood and submerging vehicles as officials warn motorists to stay off the roads. The National Weather Service says the area is pretty much ground zero for the heaviest rain overnight. The Weather Service says over 9 inches of rain fell at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport over 24 hours, ending at midday yesterday. At least one fatality has been blamed on the downpour, as emergency officials say they've responded to dozens of locations with high water on the roads. Meanwhile, thousands have been evacuated from flood-hit areas in India and Pakistan, and millions have been affected in both countries. Officials warn the death toll could continue to climb. More from Feature Story News' Ishan Garg.
Incessant rains and flash floods have robbed tens of thousands of their homes and livelihoods in Pakistan. Authorities say it's the worst flood Punjab and Balochistan provinces have experienced in a long time. Estimates say more than 780 people may have lost their lives in Pakistan just this year. And across the border in India, things aren't much different either. More than 40 people have lost their lives in a flash flood in the past 2 days. Thousands are being moved to safety, but the weather office says more rain could be incoming. Earlier, South Asia was projected to get less than average rain. But experts say climate change is worsening extreme weather patterns, and it could continue affecting millions in the future as well. Ishan Garg, New Delhi.
A senior EU official has recommended that the 27-member bloc should consider training Ukrainian troops to fight Russian invaders. The recommendation comes as Ukraine celebrates its Independence Day. Trent Murray reports from Berlin.
The European Union's top diplomats said that the bloc should consider a military training program for Ukrainian soldiers. Joseph Borrell, speaking at a university seminar in Santander, Spain, said, quote, the EU should look at efforts not only in terms of material supplies, but also in terms of training, as well as help in organising the armed forces. While the EU doesn't have its own standing army, it does have a defence agency which facilitates integration between member states within the EU's common security and defence bloc. Any military training mission led by the EU would need sign-off from all 27 member countries, a box that could be difficult to tick given some countries like Hungary have said the EU should not get involved in the war in Ukraine.
And that's Trent Murray in Berlin, and I'm Max Pringle.